In 1890, a 23-year-old carpenter's son stood beside a wooden loom in rural Japan. The room smelled of cotton thread, cut timber, and lamp oil. Outside, Yamaguchi village moved with rice fields, dirt paths, and slow seasons. Inside, his mother worked by hand, pushing thread through cloth for hours. His name was Sakichi Toyoda. Nobody around him expected a factory empire. His father was a farmer and carpenter, his mother was a weaver. The family owned no bank, no steel mill, and no Western machine shop. To most villagers, a better life meant harder work. But Sakichi noticed something small that others accepted. When a single thread broke, the loom kept moving. The cloth became defective. The worker often discovered the damage too late. That one problem stayed in his mind. More than 130 years later, the Toyota family name had become Toyota. In 2025, Toyota Group sold about 11.3 million vehicles worldwide. It remained the world's top-selling automaker. This is the story of how a carpenter's son went from watching his mother weave to building a global automotive empire. Sakichi Toyoda was born on March 19, 1867, in Yamaguchi Village, Shizuoka Prefecture. His father, Kiichiro Toyoda, worked as a carpenter. His mother, Iai Toyoda, worked as a farmer and weaver. Sakichi was their first son, born into a house shaped by rice fields, wooden tools, and cotton thread. The family did not live around industrial power. Their wealth was measured in labor. A working hand loom mattered. A working plow mattered. A repaired frame could save money. Japan itself was changing quickly. Sakichi was born only months before the Meiji Restoration began. The old Tokugawa order was ending. The new government wanted railroads, factories, and machines. But that future did not immediately reach Yamaguchi. Village life remained narrow. Work started early and ended late. Children learned usefulness before ambition. Before age 15, Sakichi already understood hardship through repetition. The tragedy was ordinary waste. His mother's weaving took hours. A snapped thread could ruin cloth. Slow machines stole time. Sakichi watched that loss closely. He noticed that adults often accepted difficult work because no alternative existed. They adjusted their bodies to the machine. Sakichi began thinking the machine should adjust to them. As a child, he was quiet and observant. He studied how parts moved. He watched how wood bent under pressure. He noticed how thread pulled, slipped, tightened, and broke. His father's carpentry shop became an early engineering classroom. After school, Sakichi trained under Kiichiro. He learned to shape wooden frames and judge strength by touch. He learned how a joint could fail if it was cut too loosely. That knowledge later shaped his machines. He did not begin with advanced mathematics. He began with broken parts. One childhood habit foreshadowed his future. Sakichi liked to study objects until he understood how they failed. A tool was not just a tool, it was a problem waiting to be improved. As he grew older, he read about inventions. He followed reports of Western machines. He organized a youth study group in his village, showing a hunger for knowledge. He later became associated with the phrase, "Open the window." It's a big world out there. The village was small, but Sakichi kept looking beyond it. The spark came in 1890, at age 23. Sakichi visited the Third National Industrial Exposition in Tokyo. For a young man from Yamaguchi, the exhibition was a different world. He saw foreign machines and industrial precision. He saw equipment that made hand tools look old and slow. Japan displayed that ambition in metal and motion. But Sakichi did not return home defeated. He returned with a question. If foreign machines could improve work, why could a Japanese craftsman not build better machines too? Soon after, Sakichi invented the Toyota wooden hand loom. It allowed operation with one hand and improved productivity. The machine was not a global breakthrough yet. It was wooden, practical, and local. But it changed Sakichi's identity. He was no longer only a carpenter's son, he was becoming an inventor. One Toyota precept later captured that direction. Always be studious and creative. Sakichi had seen the world outside his village. He decided to bring part of that world back home. He would improve labor by redesigning the machine. His first steps did not look like the birth of a car company. They looked like a young man working with wood, thread, and stubborn patience. He left the expected life of a village carpenter by choosing invention over safety. Imported machinery represented capital and prestige. Sakichi represented a rural workshop and a problem he could not forget. Japan's textile industry was growing. The Toyoda handloom gave him a beginning, but it had limits. A better handloom was not enough. He needed a smarter machine. In 1894, he invented a yarn winding machine, giving him another practical step into textile machinery. His work was physical and repetitive. He cut wood. He fitted moving parts. He tested frames under strain. He watched shuttles move across the loom. He listened for uneven motion. He corrected parts by shaving and testing again. A loom could fail in dozens of small ways. A thread could snap, a shuttle could jam, a frame could shake. Sakichi's unusual talent was not speed. It was attention. He treated each failure as information from the machine. Instead of blaming the worker, he studied the process. Instead of accepting defective cloth, he looked for the condition that created it. He began developing ideas that later became central to Toyota. Problems should be visible. Machines should expose defects. A mentor did not define Sakichi's rise. His mother's loom and Japan's industrial push served that role. The workplace was his teacher. Textile producers needed better looms. Investors and manufacturers began seeing value in Sakichi's patents and designs. But early failure followed him. A machine that worked in one setting could fail in another. Commercializing invention required more than cleverness. Sakichi had to prove that a Japanese-made loom could compete against imported machines. Western technology carried immense prestige. The central dream was a loom that stopped automatically when a thread broke. The idea sounded simple. The execution was difficult. The machine had to detect a broken thread instantly and stop without damaging the fabric. This demanded precision beyond carpentry. Each new version demanded materials, time, and credibility. Sakichi recovered by narrowing the problem. Always be practical. He did not build machines to look modern. He built them to remove waste. He kept testing until the machine taught him. By the early 20th century, his big idea was clear. He wanted a loom that could protect quality by stopping itself. In ordinary production, a broken thread continued unnoticed. Sakichi wanted the opposite. That idea became known as jidoka. In Toyota's language, it became automation with a human touch. A machine should not blindly continue after something goes wrong. In 1924, Sakichi completed the Toyota Type G automatic loom. It became his most important machine, reducing defects significantly. In 1926, he founded Toyota Automatic Loom Works. This gave his inventions a formal business base and financed a new dream. He had started as a carpenter's son. Now his name stood on a company producing advanced machinery for Japan's textile industry. But a successful loom company was just the beginning. Sakichi's son, Kiichiro Toyoda, was not content to remain only in textiles. Kiichiro studied mechanical engineering at Tokyo Imperial University. Unlike his father, he entered industry with an elite technical education. During the 1920s, he traveled to Europe and the United States. He studied factories, engines, and automobile production. In America, Ford had built millions of Model T cars with a moving assembly line. The contrast with Japan was sharp. Japan had narrow roads and limited automotive experience. Kiichiro's big idea was risky. He wanted Toyota to build cars. A car was not a loom. It required engines, transmissions, and thousands of parts. Even one missing part could stop the whole vehicle. In 1929, Toyota sold loom patent rights to Platt Brothers in Britain. This brought significant capital to fund automobile development. Then, in 1930, Sakichi died. Kiichiro lost his father and inherited a choice: stay with textiles or enter the automotive world. In 1933, the automotive production division was established. Japan's domestic industry was underdeveloped, and skilled engineers were scarce. Engines were disassembled. Parts were measured, and designs were copied, tested, rejected, and rebuilt. There were operational failures. Metal castings were inconsistent. Parts did not always fit. They lacked a mature supplier network. Not every observer saw automobiles as a safe use of capital. Kiichiro continued anyway. Driven by a vision of a motorized Japan, the mechanical rhythm of the loom shuttle began to morph into the rhythmic pulsing of a car piston. The spirit of Sakichi's precision lived on in Kiichiro's pursuit of the perfect engine. Quality remained the core philosophy. Finally, the team witnessed a prototype engine roar to life. The vibration shook the workshop, a sound of the future. From a wooden workshop to sprawling modern production lines, the Toyota legacy transformed an entire nation's industry. Sakichi's looms had automated the past. Kiichiro's cars would drive the future. The dream was no longer just about textiles. It was about motion, innovation, and the relentless pursuit of perfection. They proved that observation and practicality could turn any obstacle into a path forward. This is the evolution of Toyota. From the loom to the road, the dream never stopped moving. In 1934, Toyota completed the Type A engine, a six-cylinder engine developed after close study of existing models. In 1935, the company completed the A1 passenger car prototype. The same period produced the G1 truck. The truck mattered more immediately. Japan's government wanted domestic truck production. Industry and military needs created demand. Passenger cars remained a smaller, more uncertain market. In 1937, Toyota Motor Company was officially established. The spelling changed from Toyota to Toyoda. The new name sounded cleaner and became easier to market. It also had 8 strokes in Japanese writing, a number associated with good fortune. Kiichiro's production thinking was already forming. He later became associated with the statement, "A complete car cannot be built if even one part is missing." That idea may have sounded obvious. Inside a car factory, it was survival. Toyota needed every part at the right time, in the right quantity, and with the right quality. Too much inventory wasted money. Too little stopped the line. But what happened next would change everything. Toyota entered the automobile business just as Japan moved deeper into war. By 1937, Toyota had prototypes, trucks, and a founder's son determined to build cars. Toyota Motor Company was born in the same year Japan's war in China expanded. The company's young automobile dream became tied to national industrial priorities. Passenger cars became less important. Trucks became urgent. Toyota's factories were drawn into wartime production. Materials were controlled. This became the dark turn in Toyota's early rise. Toyota produced trucks during a period when the country was moving deeper into conflict. In 1938, Toyota opened the Kuromo plant. It became central to Toyota's early manufacturing story. There, Kiichiro pushed ideas that influenced just-in-time production. Kiichiro believed production had to be coordinated with unusual discipline. This was not only theory, it was a response to scarcity. Then Japan lost the war in 1945. The defeat changed everything. Cities had been bombed, factories were damaged. Toyota had survived the war, but survival was not success. The company still needed materials, customers, workers, suppliers, and cash. By 1949, Toyota faced a severe financial crisis. Credit tightened. Inflation damaged purchasing power. Sales could not cover the company's needs. Labor conflict erupted over layoffs and wage cuts. Workers resisted losing their jobs. Management argued that the company might not survive without restructuring. In 1950, after the labor crisis and restructuring, Kiichiro Toyoda resigned from Toyota. The founder's son left the company he had helped create. 2 years later, on March 27, 1952, Kiichiro died at age 57. He did not live to see Toyota become a global giant. Toyota's breakthrough was not one sudden product. It was a method born from scarcity. The company realized it could not copy Ford exactly. From Sakichi came Jidoka. A machine should stop when a defect appeared. From Kiichiro came just-in-time. Parts should arrive only when needed. Together, they became the 2 pillars of the Toyota production system. Taiichi Ono helped turn those ideas into daily factory practice. Kaizen became central. The word meant continuous improvement. Inside Toyota, it meant small changes made repeatedly by those closest to the work. In 1955, Toyota introduced the Crown. The Crown was designed for Japanese roads and customers. It reflected local conditions. In 1957, Toyota entered the United States with the Crown. The result was poor. American highways exposed the car's weaknesses. The breakthrough required another product. In 1966, Toyota launched the Corolla. It was compact, affordable, efficient, and reliable. During the 1970s oil crisis, fuel economy became critical. Smaller Japanese cars gained attention because they used less fuel. Toyota was ready. In 1997, Toyota launched the Prius in Japan. It became the first mass-produced hybrid passenger car combining a gasoline engine with an electric motor. In 1989, the company launched Lexus. The Lexus LS 400 challenged Mercedes-Benz and BMW with quiet engineering and build quality. From 2009 to 2010, Toyota faced major recalls connected to reports of unintended acceleration. The crisis hit Toyota's strongest identity, quality. By 2025, Toyota Group remained the world's top-selling automaker. Its production ideas shaped factories, hospitals, and business schools worldwide. Kiichiro carried that thinking into cars. Toyota became a story of scarcity, correction, war, and recovery. Thank you all for watching.